Our first speaker today is Robert. He's a senior data product strategist at Mindfuel, and he will speak about the power of data product management. Please give him a very warm round of applause for Robert.
Great to be here. As Jan said, my name is Robert. I will talk now a little bit about the power of data product management. And also, first of all, thank you very much to Lara, to Jan for organizing this great event. Thanks also to Instafo and Usercentrics, also for providing this great venue. I was really impressed when I went up here. Really cool location, a really nice atmosphere. So I'm happy to be here and also happy to get to know every one of the participants later on. So, the power of data product management. First, I would like to tell you what will be in for you today in this talk, what I would like to tell you about. So, I want to tell you that you need the data product mindset when you do data initiatives, or when you do data science or AI initiatives. Also, I would like to show you how you can build great data products with the power of data product management. So, it will be a lot about data products, a lot about data product management. So first you might ask yourself, what actually is a data product? So a data product is very simply put a product that is somehow enabled by data. So either because you consume a service that has been made possible by data, or because you consume some kind of feature that has been validated by data, by, for example, user analytics. The talk will rather not be about which algorithms you might use to increase your prediction accuracy. We will not dig into technical details or tools, but it will rather be on an organizational process level how we can build these data products. And also to give you some understanding about what great data products are. For example, we have the Thermomix here on the left, the TM6. I don't know if every one of you knows this device. It's a cooking device, very popular in Germany. And this device was previously not data related, not software related, but a couple of years ago there was a display being put into it. There was a recipe book implemented in there, and the recipe recommender system, data analytics, all of that. And now it's really a very, very successful product that has increased its sales and its profit margin incredibly through to data analytics, or thanks to data analytics. Another one, or another company that is doing or building great data products is Lego. They are also a previously non-digital company, so probably all of you have played with Lego when they were children. These plastic blocks that you put into each other, and then you have something great that you can build. Lego has also identified the potential of data and the potential of putting software in their products. And just to give you one example, there are these Lego ideas. Products that are normal Lego, a game, or normal Lego castle that you can build or things like that, but it's based on crowdsourcing. So what Lego does is they have platforms, and there the fans of Lego can build on their computer some houses based on all these small pieces, and then they say, hey, I built the house of Hagrid's hut in Harry Potter, do you think it's a cool idea, should we have it? And then other people vote it up. And if it's really cool, then Lego just brings this into production and sells it to people. A great way to really engage your fans, to save a lot of money on innovation and a good digital product. The other one is Tinder, also a very well-known digital product. So you just swipe to the left, to the right, and then you see whether you have matched with another person. Probably some of you have installed it on their app, because we are here in Munich, the single capital of Germany. So we have the highest ratio of young singles in Munich, so many will have it probably. And also this, of course, it has advanced algorithms, and they're improving their algorithm day by day. But overall, it's just such a basic need of persons to find a partner, to find another person, that actually the algorithm could have been very simple and it would have worked as well. Good. Before we dig into the details, maybe I'll talk a little bit, or I'll introduce myself a bit with a photo that is maybe a bit more up to date than the one that Jan was showing. So I'm a data product strategist. That means I want to help companies to build great data products, not by building them on their own, so I'm no developer, but by establishing the strategic foundations in the company. So it's not just that a company needs to engage some developers and then they will have great data products, but there's a lot of other things to consider, like processes, like governance, organization, a data strategy in alignment to the overall company strategy and these kinds of things. I'm a Mindfueler, so I'm part of Mindfuel, which is a brand new data product design studio that was founded here in Munich 1 year ago. I'm a tech strategy consultant, so the last 3 years I've been working for Strategist, which is the strategy brand of PwC, consulting in all kinds of projects, IT strategy, IT outsourcing, IT governance, IT transformation, all these kind of things. So I'm a traveler, I love to travel, especially Latin America, so taking my backpack and seeing some places, and somehow, yes, I kind of lost my heart in Latin America because of the people, because of the language, the dances, and all of that. Unfortunately, right now we are not able to travel to these distances, but then it's still good to have it kind of in your memories, how great it's in other countries. And I also spent half a year in Bogota at that time, and that brings us to the next point, actor. So who of you knows the Netflix series Narcos? Okay, that's good. That's a good one. So yeah, it's about Pablo Escobar, exactly. It's about 2 DEA agents chasing Pablo Escobar back in the 80s and the 90s. When I was in Bogota, they were looking for actors to support in that series in all kinds of roles. People who just walk in the background and who are Westerners. And because there were not so many Westerners in Bogota at the time, they took a lot of students and exchange students. So whenever you see the second season, a lot of people from my students' residence are somewhere walking in the background. So I would say just have a look and maybe see if you can find me in the scene.
Are you in the trunk now?
We'll see.
You could use it for your Tinder profile.
Yeah.
With the trench coat.
Oh, that was a good guess. Audio is not working, right? Okay, it's fine. It's not too important. So we had a good guess here. The guy with the trench coat in the background. Well, yes, that is true. But the thing is, you couldn't see my face because actually I didn't fit in the picture. So for those who haven't seen it, the acting career was quite quick.
You're too tall, man.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well at that point. So yeah, we walked there 60, 70 times in all kind of angles. So no actor actually. So actor well really. Thank you. So I was able to walk in the background in some cafe. I think that's also quite nice. But the proof that this really happened, we took a picture with Javier Peña. That's one of the DEA agents in that series. Really cool guy. And I can also recommend that series a lot. So this brings us back to data product management because I obviously did not become an actor. So I got back to data product management and now I'm standing here. Acting career didn't pay off. Not working for Netflix right now, but for Mindfuel. So enough of me. I'm part of, as I said, of Mindfuel, a data product design studio. And as I said, we have been founded 1 year ago. To be precise, on the 1st of October, we will have our anniversary, which is really nice. What we do is we want to enable companies to build data products, and we also build data products together with these companies. So what we really think is data projects would actually need to be done or seen as data products. And we do this on all kinds of levels. So we have strategists, for example, Nadim, our founder and CEO, Zara and me. We have data product managers who actually do the data product management and also enable other persons in other companies to become data product managers. Also, my awesome colleague Andy is sitting right there, so he's accompanying me. So happy that you came as well. And then we have a data product creator, so people who can really also develop such data products, and a lot of external freelancers that are working with us that are also data scientists to create these products. Not forgetting to mention, of course, the people that ensure that our company stays successful. Good. We have the experience of over more than 300 data use cases, so taking the experience of everyone together, and are doing some great projects with large and small partners from DAX companies to research health initiatives. So on many levels we are building data products. One example would be a health platform where we analyze the data of the breath to improve the diagnosis and the medication for patients that have lung diseases. Good. So let's dive into the topic now. As all of you, or probably most of you know, because most of you will have a kind of an interest in AI and data science, I would assume, being here on the Data Matters event. AI, which we can consider as a part of data science, has a huge potential, an enormous potential. A potential that great that you, or that's in this case, a Gartner forecast that in 2 years you could have a total global value that is generated by AI by 3,900 billions, so 3,9 trillions in German language, 3,9 Billionen US-Dollar. This is almost as much as the GDP of Germany, so only with AI you could create a value that is that big as the whole country of Germany produces in a year. So this is really, really huge, which is also why so many companies are digging into this topic, are employing data scientists, and are trying to create value with this. But the actual problem is that most of these projects actually fail. Most of AI and data science projects fail. It's a fact. It depends on which source you have, but it's always around 80%. It's always 4 out of 5 projects fail, which means they don't really make it into production. So the great data science model is built, or a great data model is built, maybe included in an application, but in the end not used. Gartner even puts it that harsh that they say 80% of AI projects will remain alchemy, run by wizards whose talents will not scale in the organization. A really hard way to describe it, which is of course fascinating because with all the knowledge of technology, with all the great people you have in data science, all these huge intelligence that there is, only 1 out of 5 projects are really successful. So what happens in these projects that are not successful? So first of all, you often have products or solutions that are not really meeting a customer need. So it might be a great algorithm, it might be the highest accuracy that you could have created, but in the end, nobody really needs the product, or there's no real use case. Another thing is that the solution is often not maintained, or that the solution is not owned. So after you have deployed the solution, nobody feels responsible, and the data scientists go to the next model. Another thing is that the data often is not accessible, so that not everybody is involved in the project, and maybe data is not made available, so that you cannot access it and you cannot use it. Another very important thing is actually a solution should be economically viable. That means that it generates a revenue that is higher than the cost that you had, or that it saves costs to a larger extent than it costs the costs. This is not true for many projects either. And often there are no processes defined on how to operate the solutions, how to go on with them. So having all these problems and the issue in generating the large amount of value with AI, we think that the reason for this is the iceberg problem. So we think that most of these endeavors, they have a project mindset, whereas actually they should have a product mindset. Project mindset is characterized by focusing on fulfilling time, scope, budget, and quality, and meeting all these conditions as they were agreed before. Whereas the real underlying customer value, which is kind of the underlying part of the iceberg, is often not considered. So when the project is started, you just think, okay, I want A, B, Z, I want to recommend a system with certain performance criteria, things like that. But what the customer really needs might change and might not be addressed. Okay. So to go into a little more detail here on the difference between a project mindset and a product mindset, In a project mindset, you are focusing on a certain output that is defined by certain criteria. That means you also need to fulfill certain requirements that are being given in the beginning of the project. You assume to know the result and everything from the first day on. You have a fixed scope, schedule, and budget, and mostly the collaboration is within the project team and maybe with persons in the company that are steering the project. It has a predefined ending, and if the criteria that was defined in the beginning has been delivered, then everybody's happy. And nothing is wrong with having a project. I think a lot of things need to be done in a project. So if you build a house, if you maybe implement a software that is predefined, that is standard, that's off the shelf, then it's perfectly fine. But what we think is that actually you need a product mindset for data science and daters because they are far more unique, and it's very difficult to know in the beginning what you will have in the end. So a product mindset is focused on an outcome. This means you don't say, I want a certain application with certain functionalities in half a year, but you rather say, with my product, I want to ship my product to 1,000 customers in half a year. Or I want to increase our revenue by 5%. Things like that. Really, what is the outcome? And then you see how you get there. So during the way you learn, adapt, and iterate, and you have a flexible scope and budget, nevertheless, you would have release schedules that are predefined. So a release every 3 months or 6 months or things like that. The alignment would be across the whole company and with the customer. So you talk to marketing, you talk to finance, you talk to your board in the company, and you also go to the customer to see whether he likes the product. And most importantly, you have an ongoing life cycle in a product. So a product itself is nothing new. We all know products. If you go to the supermarket, to the car dealership, to the drugstore, you have product everywhere. But you don't have so many data products, and especially not in company and especially not on the internal side. To give another comparison here or another example, you could say that when you plan a party and you do it with a project mindset, you tell the one that's planning the party, okay, I want to have 300 persons attending to the party. I want that David Guetta will be played, and then we have, 1,000 bottles of beer and gin tonic and all of that. And then the project manager delivers that, checks the list, says, okay, here's the party, I go home. And then you see how the party goes. Whereas in the product mindset, the guy who organizes the party needs to stay at the party. And he will not only stay at this party, he will stay at the party next month, because you will have a row of parties. And then every month he will organize a new party and make it better and better. Mm-hmm. And he's really there when somebody's being at his party, and maybe changes the music, talks to the people, is really engaged. So this is kind of the difference in the mindset between the project and between the product. So we want to have a product mindset, and if you want to create a product mindset, then you need data product management for a data science project. So what does data product management do? Just like in regular product management, you want to ensure that your product is viable, that it is feasible, and that it is desirable. This means on the feasibility side, you need to, of course, ensure that it works from a technical perspective, that you have the data available, that it connects, that you have the operations that can work, that you have the technology, the knowledge of the people, all of that. Super important, super complicated, and I would say the largest focus of many data science initiatives. But if you want to have a product, you need to also ensure the other two. Desirability, very, very important. Ensure that what you create is somehow providing a user experience, is nice to use, that somebody really wants it, that people would pay for it, or at least it generates value that you can express. So you need to talk to people, to customers, and really do a discovery of nice features that people want. And the third point, you need to ensure that the product is viable, which means that from a business perspective, it will work, it creates value. That it has a business case and a business model, and that you go to your company manager and he says, perfect, this is in line with my strategy, this is in line with the profit that I'm making, I want to have it, and we should continue to have it in the next years. And then you will have a successful product. So, what does the data product manager do, actually? So, the data product manager, of course, as you could guess, is the guy who's doing the data product management. So, he's responsible for the product. And he is balancing all the time what the company management or the company overall wants or has defined and what the guys in the execution engine deliver. So, the UX, the user experience responsible persons, and also the developers, the data scientists. So he kind of tries to understand what's the strategy, where do we want to go? Do we want to go to other countries? Do we want to have new products? Do we need to save costs? All of that, and needs to bring this in line with the initiative, with the product. He also needs to think about what are actually our requirements, what are objectives. So taking the Thermomix example that I explained at the beginning, there might be some business department or marketing saying, hey, we need augmented reality for this Thermomix. We need a glass, and then you can see before how the dish will look like later on. And then you think, okay, a nice idea. I don't know if it's true. And without the data product manager, you have the risk that this is maybe given down directly to the developers. That happens in some firms, and then they get a call. It's not really compliant, but somebody asks from them, hey, I want to develop feature A, B, Z, whatever. And the data product manager, however, needs to take this, needs to funnel all these ideas. Okay, augmented reality glasses for the Thermomix, I'm not sure. Needs to validate them, needs to think, is this really a valid feature? Does it pay off? Does it pay off now to implement an augmented reality application just for a cooking device? Might be a little bit skeptical and shields the guys in the execution engine from such maybe great ideas, but in the end not successful requirements. So, in order to balance all these interests, the data product manager needs to be a mini CEO of the product. He needs to, just like this baby boss, he needs to schedule everything, to know everything, to manage very many different disciplines. So it's a really, really tough job with a lot of different requirements for the person. So, for example, he needs to define a strategy, he needs to find innovation, and he needs to do the discovery. So he goes in there, defines product vision, where should the product go, looks at the desirability, does anybody want it, validates solution design with the developers, builds a business case, does data exploration, many different things. Then after he has validated certain ideas that should be part of the product, so maybe, sorry, augmented reality doesn't make it in for our Thermomix, but recipe platform is a good idea. So then he gives this forward to the product backlog, where we then have continuous discovery and delivery. So you can think that here in this part, you really on an ongoing basis need to deliver what the data product manager has given into the process so that you really implement these validated features. And the product manager here, he is involved in product increment planning, supplier management, for example, for other companies, for other software companies that are involved in this data product. And he's also supporting there. These product increment planning events are actually really fun events. They're very large. They plan the next 3 months of development ahead. You have all the developers flying into a large room, and there you discuss which features do we want to implement, how are they dependent on each other, how do we actually set it up now in the next 3 months. Then when the product is finished, the job is now done for the product manager. He does not go home from the party, but he stays on the party. So he needs to think, okay, what's the pricing strategy in data products or in general in IT products? You need to think, okay, do I want to have a subscription-based model? Should I have a one-price model? Should I have a freemium model? All these kinds of decisions need to be done by the data product manager as well. Going on with the marketing plan, distribution strategy, launch events. So a launch event is where you actually present them the product and show to everyone what cool features it has, how it works, what they can do with it. So for the Thermomix, these have been also huge events with hundreds and thousands of people, especially women coming into large halls where then there was somebody standing in front cooking and showing how actually the Thermomix is used. So really, really crazy and great events. So the data product manager, as we have learned, has a very important job. And he has a lot of different things to consider. And it's hard to get these people. But of course, also, I think for you being involved maybe in IT projects and data science projects, it would be interesting to know how actually the daily way of working is with that person. So maybe as a first question, who of you is working in a Scrum team? Maybe either as a data scientist or as a developer? Okay, great. Who of you is a product owner? So in a Scrum methodology, prioritizing features in the backlog and overseeing that everything is delivered accordingly. Then maybe a product manager. I would not expect, but yeah, Andy, very good. So actually, if you have any questions on what a data product manager does, how this job is, what the challenges are, also with the beer, you can be happy to address it to Andy later. Good. Company CEO we also have here in the room, so also involved, and of course we are all customers who want to be involved in the products that we're using. So how does it work? Product manager talks to the company, aligns on goals, aligns on numbers, aligns on business case. He talks to the customer to align on what the customer needs, and this does not only involve to ask him, or this does not only involve to do research, customer research, and to look in some magazine on, okay, what are the interests of my customers. It also means that he should look at actually usage numbers. So once you have a data product in place, once you have people using your data products, you can analyze how are they using my products. So for example, at the Thermomix example again, they can see, okay, who's cooking what, at which time, what are the most popular recipes, what are most popular times. Maybe they can adapt their recipes, they can adapt their functionalities, all of that. Then the product manager is in very close collaboration with the product owner. So they're kind of a unity. Product manager always only going a little bit into the business side, but also looking at desirability, feasibility, all of these things, and a product owner then really focusing on what will be implemented in a given sprint. So by prioritizing the features that need to be implemented. And then you have the Scrum team, of course, doing the development, whereas in this idea and product mindset, it's really, really important that the Scrum team or the developers are involved in the actual discussions also up here, so that they are somehow part of a desirability study, maybe sometimes, that they talk to the customer, that they are taking part in events where the product is being discussed with customers, so that they really understand how things are done, so that you ensure that the product will be used in the end. You remember the problems of those projects that fail. It's most importantly that you want to deliver a solution that will be used. Then here, data scientists, they are named a little bit separately here. So ideally, they are part of the Scrum team, or at least closely involved with the Scrum team, because you always have it that the data science team is delivering the model to the team that actually implements the application. And it's, of course, a discussion to say, okay, can they really implement in an agile way, delivering a new solution every 2 or 3 weeks, or does it take much more time? But ideally, they are somehow involved in this process and really know what's going on on the product level. From a process perspective, talking about the backlog process, you have 3 different levels. So maybe as an explanation, a backlog would be, in this methodology, a container or a pool of changes that should be done to the product. And on the highest level, you would formulate such changes or functionalities in epics, which is like a cluster of functionalities. So maybe in the Thermomix example, you would say, okay, my recipe book is an epic. Then, once these epics have been validated and various kinds of activities, so it has been proven that they are viable, feasible, and desirable, they are being transferred to the product level, to the product backlog, where you have really features. So, for example, you might say a feature of the recipe book is an evaluation of a recipe. Giving 4 stars, giving 5 stars, maybe that is a feature. And then, in several sprints, maybe every 2 or 3 weeks, just like in normal Scrum methodology, you would then break down these features into user stories, So, for example, breaking down the evaluation of the recipe down to a user story that you could formulate as a user. I want to see the evaluation, the recommendations for a recipe in the overall, in the summary review. Maybe like this. So this is how it would work. And if you, as we had a lot of developers and data scientists here in this room, if you have not been involved up here or are not really aware of what the customer needs, what they're doing, what the business case maybe is, so all these requirements, then maybe it is worthwhile thinking about how you could be included up here, because it's so crucial that the people who build the solution really know about all these things. And maybe you need a product manager, a data product manager. So we've talked about the failing projects that actually make it difficult to generate the large value, that you need data product management, that you need a data product manager. And now the question is for you, maybe as an organization, how do I get to this state? What do I need to do to have data product management and have great data products? So first, you would need a product strategy, just like you have a normal strategy in your company. So you would need a product vision, a product mission, defining for which target group your data product should be, where you want to go, what you want to achieve with it. You can define so-called OKRs, objective key results, an approach very popular at Google, where you really define for the product on a quantitative basis what you want to have in the end. As I mentioned before on the outcome slide, or on the project-product comparison, shipping the product to 1,000 customers, things like that. Good. After you have a product strategy and everybody knows where to go, you would ideate and validate on customer needs. So you need to really understand what does your customer want, and this does not only mean what does your customer maybe in the market want, in the supermarket, but really what do your internal stakeholders want. So it's very important to understand that what I'm saying is not that only those data applications that are somehow sold to a person outside should be data products, but actually most of them also that you use internally should be data products. So when you create, for example, in a knowledge system, a search engine that your company can find the documents, this can be a data product as well, and you need to understand your customer on how this actually, or what actually he needs. So you would do workshops, you would do analysis, as I mentioned before. Third point, you would need to build a business model and a business case, really understanding how this contributes financially to your company. And of course, if you don't sell it on the market, you don't need a business model, you don't need to define a freemium model or something like that, but you should at least understand how this can benefit your company. And maybe if it's just as simple as saying, if people find their documents in a better way, then every one of them saves 5 minutes a day. I have a certain cost of an hour of a day of each of my employees. I sum it up, and then you show your management look at how great, how important this search engine, this search product is in my company. Good. First point, and then now just we get to the development and the solution design. Now you need to think whether all these ideas that you had up there are really working, can really be implemented in a product. So you talk to your developers, you talk to the data scientists. Can we deliver that? Is it possible? Yes or no? If it's possible, you plan it. You put it into a sprint, into the sprint backlog as a user story, and you implement it. And then the party is not over because we are in the product mindset. So we go back to ideating and validating on the customer needs, taking the example of your knowledge database again. So now you have implemented a prototype or a first solution. You don't stop. You see, okay, which documents do they use? How often do they have to, like how many pages do they need to go forward until they find the documents? How often do they use the platform so that you can improve it continuously and you do not stop? So, we went through everything that you need to reach data product mastery, the people that you need, the process that you need, and the steps for you as an organization, how you can get there. So what can you actually achieve if you have reached data product mastery? Well, you will build great data products that people know. And the example I like so much about the Thermomix also plays a good role here. So it is a data product and it solves real world problems. It really looks at what do the customers want, what do they need. So it's answering actually one of the most pressing questions of what should I eat today? Because it doesn't only tell you how to prepare your food. It doesn't only make it easier to blend your food. It has a recommender system that can tell you, okay, what should you actually, what should you eat, what could you eat based on what you like, what would be nice to have, based on the ingredients you liked, and what would be other great products, all these kinds of things. Just like Tinder is answering maybe the questions, how do I find a partner? Yeah? Very simple, basic question. And if you are really able to answer that basic questions with a data product, then you're making it. So if you have that, you can create new business models and you drive sales. So from the business part of perspective, you can really increase sales a lot. So after they have made the Thermomix digital, sales actually skyrocketed. Also, you have a competitive advantage. Taking the Thermomix as an example, you have a lot of different products, a lot of similar products. For example, at Lidl, from 100 to 400 euros based on the model, whereas the Thermomix costs around 1,300 for the device itself, and then a subscription fee for the recipe platform. That's a huge difference, isn't it? It's the question: why would somebody buy then this so expensive product when actually there's a very cheaper alternative in the market? And the reason is, well, this one answers to the questions of what I should eat today. This one is just a heating plate with a blender in it, nothing else. Good. So when you consider all of that, then you will make your customers go crazy and storm into the supermarket or wherever to buy your stuff. Yes. So this is what you want to achieve in the end. So we are at the end. And what I really would like for you to take from this talk is that data science and AI projects fail because there is no real product mindset. It's all the project mindset. The people who are producing or who are creating the solution are going home before the party started. So you need data product management to build great data products and to improve your products all the time. A data product manager is a mini CEO, a boss baby of the product, and needs to ensure in very many different disciplines that actually what you implement is feasible, viable, and desirable. And as a first step, you should create a product vision. You should start with product discovery, so with workshops, with data analysis of your customer to understand the most important underlying need, to understand the question that you want to answer with whatever initiative you are doing. So, this is it. Thank you very much, and I'm happy to have your questions.